A woman took ashwagandha every single day. And this is how that gentle herbal supplement turned her own thyroid against her. Before we step into that clinic, if strange symptoms and the science behind them pull you in, subscribe. This channel turns real medical cases into lessons that can protect you and the people you love. It was a Tuesday morning. A 41-year-old woman we'll call RM walked into an urgent care clinic and sat down on the exam table. Shoulder-length light brown hair, warm hazel eyes, a friendly, approachable face with the faint laugh lines of someone who smiles a lot. She looked healthy, she looked fine, and she was terrified. Her hands would not stop trembling. A nurse handed her a paper cup of water, and she couldn't hold it steady. The surface rippled. A fine tremor running through her fingers that she could not switch off no matter how hard she tried. The room was cool, almost cold. And still she was sweating, a thin sheen across her forehead in a room where everyone else kept their sweaters on. Then there was her chest. Her heart was fluttering. She described it later like a trapped bird beating against her ribs, fast and frantic, trying to get out. The monitor confirmed it. 128 beats per minute, sitting still, doing nothing. That number has a name. Doctors call a heart this fast tachycardia. Break the word apart and it tells you exactly what's wrong. Tachy, meaning fast. Cardia, meaning heart. A fast heart. That racing pulse was the very first clue, and it was screaming that something inside her had shifted into a gear the body is never meant to hold at rest. And there was one more thing, the weight. Over the past 6 weeks, RM had lost 14 pounds. She hadn't changed her diet. She hadn't started exercising. The pounds simply fell off, quietly, without her doing a single thing. Her clothes hung looser every week, and she had no idea why. If your own heart has ever fluttered for no reason you could name, you already know how frightening this Tuesday morning felt. That flutter, that sense that your body is running away from you, is hard to describe until it happens to you. Here's the thing. RM wasn't scared. At first, she thought she knew what this was. Stress. Life had been busy, sleep had been thin, and she figured her body was just paying the bill. A racing heart, a little shakiness, some weight off. Stress could do all of that, couldn't it? And she believed she was already handling it. Every night without fail, she took a supplement, a gentle herbal thing she'd bought for calm, for better sleep, for taking the edge off. Ashwagandha, natural, plant-based. The kind of pill you don't think twice about, because how could something that gentle ever hurt you? Hold on to that thought, because natural does not mean safe. And the very habit she trusted to calm her down was, at that moment, the one detail nobody in the room suspected. Back in the clinic, her pulse would not settle. The nurse checked again. Still 128. They had her lie back, breathe slow, wait. Nothing moved that number. It just kept hammering, minute after minute, refusing to come down. And that was the moment the tone in the room changed. Because a heart beating that fast in a woman who looks otherwise healthy is not a nuisance you send home with a pat on the shoulder. It is a warning. So urgent care did the only responsible thing. They escalated her straight to the emergency department. In the ED, doctors moved fast. They gave her a beta blocker to slow her racing heart, and it worked. For one whole day, RM felt calm again, steady, normal, safe. But that calm was a lie, and by evening it would shatter. That day of calm was a lie. By evening, the palpitations came back worse, and now RM's hands shook so badly she could not hold a cup. She reached for water at her bedside, and the glass rattled against her teeth. The beta blocker had not put the fire out. It had only draped a blanket over it for a few hours, and now the blanket had burned through. Think about what that means. A drug that slows the heart is not a cure. It's a muffler on an engine that is still redlining underneath. Her pulse pushed back up. The sweat returned in a cool room. Whatever was driving her body was still driving it hard, and it had barely paused to catch its breath. So the doctors did what good doctors do when the obvious answer fails. They went digging into her history. And the detail that came back was almost boring. For 9 months, every single night, RM had taken ashwagandha, a gentle herbal supplement. She bought it for calm, for better sleep, for stress relief. Natural, harmless, she believed. A small capsule beside a glass of water on her nightstand, taken so routinely she almost forgot to mention it. Nobody in that room circled it yet. It just sat there in her chart, an ordinary habit, waiting. because first, everything else had to be ruled out. To understand what was happening, the doctors had to work through the suspects one by one. And here's the trick they use, the one worth stealing. Follow the clock with the doctors here. The speed of a symptom tells you where to look. Something that strikes in seconds is usually a blood vessel problem. Something that builds over days to weeks is usually infection or inflammation. Something that creeps over months to years leans toward cancer or slow degeneration. Seconds, weeks, years. That clock narrows the whole map. So, suspect 1. A sudden clot or an arrhythmia, a vascular event, something firing off inside the heart or the vessels. That word, vascular, comes from the Latin for a small vessel, a little tube carrying blood. These events explode in seconds. One moment fine, the next collapsed. But RM's trouble had been building for 6 weeks. The clock did not match. Dismissed. Suspect 2. An infection. Something hiding in her body. Throwing off those fever-like sweats, revving her heart the way a bad flu does. This one fit the timescale better, days to weeks. So they looked. They looked hard. No source anywhere, no infected wound, no pneumonia, no swollen gland. And her white blood cell count, the army the body floods out to fight invaders, was flat, normal. No battle was being fought. Dismissed. Suspect 3, the frightening one. A hidden cancer, or a pheochromocytoma. Break that monster of a word apart and it gets simpler. Pheo meaning dusky or dark, chromo meaning color. Cytoma, a tumor of cells. A rare tumor, usually on the adrenal gland, that dumps adrenaline into the blood and sends the heart racing exactly like this. It was a real possibility. But tumors like that keep a years-long clock. They grow slow. They announce themselves slow. RM went from healthy to trembling in 6 weeks. The timing was wrong. Dismissed. And that is the strange, cold feeling in a room like this. One by one, the whiteboard fills with crossed-off names. Vascular, gone. Infection, gone. Cancer, gone. Every suspect that could explain a racing heart and melting weight walks out the door. By now, you may already suspect where this is heading. Hold that thought. Because when you remove the seconds, and you remove the years, and you find no infection in the weeks, you are left staring at the systems that quietly set the body's speed. The organs that decide how fast every cell runs. And there is one of those, small, soft, sitting right at the base of the neck. Every other suspect was gone. What remained was one butterfly-shaped gland in her neck. And to understand how something she swallowed for calm could set it on fire, we have to go back to the year 1656. 1656. An anatomist named Thomas Wharton is bent over a dissection, studying a small gland in the neck, butterfly-shaped. 2 lobes joined in the middle. He gives it a name that sticks for the next 4 centuries. Thyroides, Greek for shield-shaped. The same gland that was now, quietly, setting RM's whole body on fire. So what does this little shield actually do? Think of it as the body's thermostat. It sets your speed. Every cell in you burns fuel at a pace, and this gland decides that pace. It does the job with 2 hormones, T3 and T4. They travel through the blood and whisper the same instruction to everything they touch. Faster. Burn faster. They tell the heart how quickly to beat. They tell your muscles, your gut, your skin how hard to run. Turn that thermostat up too high, and the whole house overheats. The heart pounds. The body burns through fuel so fast the weight falls off. The hands shake. Sound familiar? It should. That's exactly the woman who walked into urgent care with a pulse of 128. Now, here is the part almost nobody sees coming. Ashwagandha. The plant is called Withania somnifera, and modern research shows something the label never warns you about. It can stimulate the thyroid to make more hormone. For most people, that nudge is small, barely noticed. But RM's gland was already leaning that way, already primed to run hot. Take a supplement that pushes it every single night for 9 months, and you do not get calm. You get a thermostat cranked to the ceiling and jammed there. The doctors had a word for what her body was now in. Thyrotoxicosis. Break it apart, and it tells you the whole story. Thyro, the gland. Toxic, poisoned. Poisoned by her own thyroid hormone, not by a bug, not by a tumor, by the very thing she swallowed to feel better. And then came the proof. Blood work. Two numbers that close the case. Her TSH, the signal the brain sends to ask the thyroid for more hormone, was suppressed near zero. The brain was practically screaming, "Stop, we have enough." And her free T4 was sky high, flooding her bloodstream. There it was, in two numbers, the answer she had been swallowing every night. The gentle nightly habit had drowned her body in hormone. That is what raced her heart. That is what melted 14 pounds off her frame. That is what shook the cup out of her hands. The herb she bought for peace had been poisoning her with speed. Once they understood it, the fix was almost boringly simple. Stop the ashwagandha, that first. Take away the fuel. They kept her on the beta blocker, the drug that slows the heart, to protect it while everything settled. And they added a short course of a thyroid blocking medication, something to quiet the overactive gland and give it room to recover. That was it. No surgery. No long shadow over her future. Her body remembered how to be normal. Within 4 weeks, her hormone levels drifted back toward where they belonged. Within 3 months, the heart rate came down. The weight came back. The tremor faded until she could hold a full cup of coffee without a single ripple. Full recovery. The woman whose chest fluttered like a trapped bird was, in the end, completely fine. So what do you take from this? Not fear. Please, not fear of every bottle on the shelf. The lesson is quieter than that. Respect. Natural does not mean safe. A plant is still a chemical. A gentle supplement is still a dose. Something that helps one body can tip another over an edge it did not know it was standing on. Here is the practical part. If you take a daily herb and your heart starts to race, or your weight shifts for no reason you can name, get your thyroid checked. It's one blood test. And tell your doctor everything you swallow, even the gentle things, even the ones you would never suspect. Tell your doctor everything you swallow, even the gentle things. That one sentence can save a life. RM is fine now. Steady hands, steady heart, a thermostat back under control. And that is the story of how a daily dose of ashwagandha pushed one woman's thyroid into overdrive. This has been a medical case study.